And Craig, just to let everybody know, this meeting is being recorded.
Thank you. Yeah, I try not to handle how long these meetings might take because that seems to jinx it if I do that. So making my guess tends to throw things off a bit.
Fair enough.
People angry at me. So we do have a quorum and it is 2:30, so we can start whenever our chair is ready to.
Okay, so we're ready?
We're ready.
All right, we call this AMAT's Technical Advisory Committee meeting to order for June 10th, 2021 at 2:30 p.m. Mr. Lyon, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Mr. Van Hove,
Present.
Mr. Stichik. Ms. Kilcoyne.
Present. Sorry.
Oh, thank you, Matt. Ms. Kilcoyne is going to be late. She's on already. Doesn't look like it. Mr. Lindemood. Don't see. Ms. Acton.
Here.
Thank you. Ms. McNulty.
Here.
Mr. Boland.
Present.
Mr. Rebuffo.
Present.
Mr. Colhays is excused. I'm not sure. Mr. Alimi, I see is here. I don't know if you're still with us. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so you're still here until next month then?
Yes, I'm sitting in for Cindy today.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. And then Ms. Carpenter.
Here.
So you have quorum.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lyon, would you please give the public involvement announcement?
Yes, AMAT's committee meetings are open to the public and the public is provided an opportunity to comment at the meeting. If we have a business item, a presentation by staff or a consultant, and then after that, the committee will be given a chance to discuss it. And then following that, the public will be invited to comment on each item.
Thank you. Item 3, approval of the agenda. Do we have approval for the agenda? Can I get a motion for approval?
Yep, move to approve.
Thank you.
Yes, a second by Adiemi Limi.
Thank you. Do we have any corrections or changes? Are there any objections to accepting this agenda? Okay, hearing none, the agenda is approved. Next order of business, we have the April 8th, 2021 minutes for approval. Do we have a motion for adoption? Can I get a motion for approval?
This is Todd. I move to approve.
This is Michelle.
you.
I second.
Thank you. Are there any corrections or changes? Are there any objections to approval? Hearing none, the April 8th, 2021 minutes are approved. Moving on to action items, agenda item 5A, 2022 safety target recommendations. Craig, are you ready to present?
Yes. So folks, remember this is the set of performance measures that we have to revisit every year. Some of those performance measures that we have were once in a great while sort of thing, but the performance measure for the safety performance plan, those are the ones we do every year. And if you remember, we have the option of either creating our own performance measures specific to the MPO area, to the AMATS area, or we support the state's targets. And we are recommending again that we support the state's targets. You can see in the memo in front of you the 2022 target, and then below that you'll see what the targets have been for the last 3 years for reference. So we had a 70 number there, and previously it was 75 and 80. So that we invite Mr. Lindemood in. It is 2:34, and Mr. Lindemood has joined the meeting. So back to the memo there, we are recommending the support of the state's targets. I'm asking you that you, the TAC, recommend those numbers to the policy committee for approval. And that's it. I can answer questions if we have them.
Craig, this is Matt Stichik. Is it correct that these are statewide transportation network figures?
I believe these are statewide. I might ask actually ask Mr. Amundson because he usually seems to comment and correct me on these, but I believe these are statewide and we're supporting their numbers, but
Yes, they are.
thank
Yeah,
you,
this
sir.
is Todd. That's correct.
Okay. I should have asked you, Todd, but I would.
That's right.
Jim always just seems to jump in and tell me I'm wrong or I'm right, so. So there you go.
I don't have to do that much anymore, Craig. It's okay.
I'm learning. I can be taught after 18 years.
It's all about the teamwork.
Any other questions or comments from the committee? Would any members of the policy committee like to pose a question or make a comment? Would any members of the public like to make a comment? Okay, what is the will of the committee?
Well, I will make a motion to approve what's laid out in this memo as the targets for 2022.
Okay, can I get a second? Thank you.
This is Todd. I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Item 5A has been moved and seconded. There any other questions or objections? Okay, hearing none. Motion is approved. Thank you. Okay, moving on to agenda item 5B, committee bylaws update. Craig, are you ready?
Yeah. So we, as you know, we have, besides this technical advisory committee, we have the Citizens Advisory Committee, the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, and the Freight Advisory Committee. And those were our three other advisory committees. We do have an air quality advisory group, but they have basically been defunct for a while. So recently, as you know, we changed the name of the Citizens Advisory Committee to the Community Advisory Committee. And so we need to tweak our bylaws to reflect that change. In addition, while we were going over them, Christine and I really looked at those and thought it makes sense that we kind of standardize all three of the committee bylaws, those advisory committee bylaws, to make them very similar in most respects. So there were just some tweaks here and there that did that throughout. We had somehow created term limits for the CAC and the bike and ped to 2 terms, and we wanted to match the 3-year, 3 terms, 3-year terms to what was in the freight committee. And in addition, we had at some point in the past changed some language in the freight advisory committee to allow for telephonic meetings. We were really challenged with getting a quorum at the freight advisory committee, and this was pre pandemic, so we were really challenged with that, and so we changed the language in there a while ago to allow for email approval or telephonic approval of different things before the freight advisory committee. So we just wanted to standardize that throughout with the CAC and the VPAC. So that's kind of the gist of those changes. There are just a lot of little tweaks here and there to make them all the same. We could go through those if you want. There is a red line version that was posted, but that's kind of the gist of it. Happy to answer questions between myself and Christine. But we are asking that you recommend to the policy committee their approval of those kind of standardizing language in all 3 bylaws.
Are there any questions or comments from the committee? Would any members of the policy committee like to pose a question or make a comment? Would any members of the public like to make a comment? Okay, so what is the will of the committee? Would
Don't it-
anyone like to make a motion for approval or recommendation to the policy committee?
This is Matt Stichek. I will move to recommend these updates to the bylaws to the policy committee for approval.
Thank you.
This is DME, Alimi, second.
Thank you very much. Okay, is there any further discussion? Any objections? Okay, hearing none. Motion is approved to be for item 5B to be sent to the policy committee.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Lyon, are there any other action items?
No, ma'am.
Moving on to item 6, project and plan updates. Are there any updates?
I don't have any project or plan updates.
Okay. How about item 7?
I
General
got
information updates. Okay.
Yeah,
good.
so, we have in our current public involvement plan, we have some discussion about virtual public involvement. And as I think everyone knows, this is certainly something that our federal overseers, both FHWA and FTA, are very, very interested in. It's something that I just got something from Fed Highway today on different practices that have been happening, and one of the ones that they pointed out was DOT's Windy Corner project, our local DOT's Windy Corner project, and the public involvement they did on it. So we're doing it all over the place, but we don't have it quite ensconced in our public involvement plan to the extent that we probably should. So this is just to let you folks know that we are looking to do an update to our public involvement plan to reflect that the kinds of things that we're doing. Our plan is for next month, we will be going back to meeting in person for our technical and policy committees, and trying to do some version of a hybrid where people are still able to dial in and the public is still able to dial in and connect virtually. But for the most part, we're expecting folks to be in person. So this is just kind of a heads up for that. And that's about all I had on that.
Would anyone from the committee like to pose a question or make a comment? How about any policy committee members listening in?
I'll just say good afternoon, everyone, but no comment.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, would any members of the public like to make a comment? Okay, moving on to item 8, committee comments. The floor is open for any comments from committee members.
Well, I have something. Kim, if I can share, if it's okay for me to share my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so this photo was taken at 6 p.m. last evening. What you're looking at is the first 3 of 9 monopiles that are going to be the mooring and breasting dolphins as part of the new petroleum cement terminal at the port. What's challenging to appreciate from the picture, I think, is that they are 12 feet in diameter. And if you look at the one nearest the front of the picture and at that boat down in the water with those 2 little guys in it, you kind of get a sense of how big those things are. And so 3 of 9 have been installed, and those smaller pile that surround it are what you slide the template over the top of, so that you can help stand that thing up straight while you're doing the pile driving to install it. And coming out of the top of that one nearest one is the apparatus that we use to take the water out of the inside once the pile is installed, because what goes down inside next is a steel cage for the steel reinforced concrete that will get poured to finish the installation. This is a new Dolphin style. The older ones are about 48 inches, which is what those little ones around the outside are, with a whole bunch of angled piling to support it. This is a one and done strength, kind of more stronger and more resilient installation. And so we're on our way to finishing the what we need to do this summer. We've got pile caps poured. The pile caps will go on top of this. Then we'll connect the pile caps with catwalks. So as the lines come off the vessels, you can walk them out to the bollards that will be on top of the pile caps to tie the ships up. So off and running this year. Some of you who live around town may very well have either felt the vibration, heard the noise, or both as we've driven these things. So it's a few more weeks of that before we're done. But I kind of wanted to share the progress that we've made since the construction started this year. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Would anyone like to make any comments?
Kim, I have a comment. This is Todd.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So some of you may have already been aware of this, or this may be news to you, but the state is currently participating in updating the statewide long-range transportation plan. Not that similar process to what we do at this organization, but the plan is currently being rewritten, and they've recently put together a survey, and I'll just give Craig a shout out already for posting that on the AMAT's website. But what I'd like to do is try and encourage you to take the survey yourselves and post that survey out to anybody that you know that may be in your organization and or interested in transportation. And real briefly, why that's important is this LRTP, the statewide LRTP, this is the plan that kind of creates the vision for spending and for choosing projects on the NHS. So obviously most of the streets within the municipality that DOT owns, operates, and maintains. And as an example of why this, again, is important, is we are currently facing the least amount of spending in the Anchorage Bowl that has taken place for quite some time. And we haven't had any new projects in at least the last 5 years, any new starts within the municipality. And we're currently underspending dramatically. At any rate, so take the survey, tell us what you think, and hopefully that'll help us get new projects started in the Anchorage area to improve the NHS through the Anchorage area. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that survey, sorry, Christine sent it out earlier to our email list. So everyone on the lists, and certainly all the TAC should have gotten it. You can share that with your any groups that you might have. And then she did get it posted. So you should be able to see it in several locations. Looks like she
It's
just
also in the
posted it in the
chat.
chat too. Yeah, she just posted in the chat. See, I'll just get out of her way. Let's let her do the magic.
Okay, any other questions? Comments? Okay, well, thank you for your participation. Meeting is adjourned at 2:48 for this AMAT's Technical Advisory Committee meeting.
Outstanding.
18 minutes, not bad.
Very, very nice.
Expect you to say to that. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks all.